Okay, in this video we're just going to have a look at creating some basic user controls using ASP.NET and how we administer websites. So we've got Visual Studio open, and what we're going to do first of all is going to create a new website. I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Let's call it users. And we're going to choose Visual Basic template, and we're going to create an empty website there. So I'll just click OK. And we'll see here in the Solution Explorer, we've got our website created. We've got no page at the moment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some pages. So I'm going to add some web forms. I'm going to start off with a default web page, web form. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add also a web form that I'm going to call login. I'm going to add a web form that I'm going to call registration for users to create an account and register. And then I'm going to add a web form that I'm going to call change password. Should be self-explanatory what that's for. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my default page. I'm just going to right click on that and set as the start page. And so on my default page, if we're just going to split view so we can see our code and our body text. So the first thing we're going to add is a login view. So down here in our toolbox, you can see we've got the login options. If I expand that, we've got various things here that we can add. So the first thing I'm going to add is a login view. Okay, so I drag that in, and we can see in our login view, we can administer the website through it, we can edit the roles, and we've got two different possible views. We've got an anonymous template for a user that's not logged in, and we've got a logged in template. So I'm going to choose anonymous template, and if I just type anything, just a letter, we'll see it pop up in our split view, the area where we can start typing something. So I'm going to put in here a message, hello visitor, please log in. Now instead of it saying login in text, what I want it to be here is actually a button that can be clicked, a login option. So instead of it saying login, I'm going to just delete this, and I'm going to drag in a login status control. Drop in a login status control, and I'm just going to put a full stop at the end of that. And what you'll see now is in our login view, this is still in the anonymous template. Note it says anonymous template. It says hello visitor, please log in, and they'll be able to click that to log in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this view now to the logged in template. So this is what the user will see when they're logged in. So again, just type something and it populates the controls and shows me where I can start typing. So at this point, I'm going to say hello, and I want to put in now hello, the person's name. So at this point, I'm going to drag a login name control up. So it's going to actually pull out the name of the person that's logged in. So it's going to say, hello, whoever the name is, welcome back. And then after that, I want the option for them to log out or log in. So I'm going to drag in a login status button as well. So if I synchronize that, the login view for anonymous, hello visitor, please log in. And the login view for logged in will say, hello, username, welcome back, and then they'll have a login control so they can log out if they're already logged in. Okay. Now at this point we're going to need to do a little bit of work on the web config file. So if I just open up the web config file, you'll see here the standard file that you get with an empty website, and underneath this system web declaration here we've got some compilation and some runtime information. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to delete all of this information and just leave it blank. But here I'm going to set the authentication mode equal to forms. Okay, so authentication mode equal to forms, and there we go. So this will then allow us to use these login controls. So that's all we need to worry about on the web config page. I'm going to close that down for now, and we're going to come back to our pages that we've got open. We've got our default page, login page, registration, and change password. Now I'm going to do some work on the login page. If I open the login page, what I'm going to add here is a login control. So down here in our logins, we've got the login control. Just put it into split view, drag in the login control, and there we have it. So this is our login. Now we've got some options here. We can format it, convert it to template, and we can administer it for the website through this as well. Let's just format that, and I'm just going to choose the classic format. I quite like the classic format. And here we've got our login control. Now, over in the properties, over on the right hand side, we're going to need to change a few settings here. So if I just, I'm just going to bring that out just for a better view. I've already got mine set up in an alphabetized view. We need to look at the create user text. So I'm going to want it to stay register. And you'll notice here popped up, it now says register. There's now an option to register as a user. The create user URL, I'm going to change that to the registration.aspx page. So when someone clicks on this register link, it will go to the register page. And then the destination URL, I just need to change that to the default page so that when somebody has registered, it will go back to the default page. And I can now snap those properties back in because we've finished with creating the login. Okay, if I now just view this default page in a browser, guess I want to save it. Let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got hello visitor, please log in. I click on login and it takes us to this login page. Okay, and we can log in. We've got the option to register, but if I click on register, it's going to take me to a blank page. We haven't set up the registration page yet at all. So that's what we're going to do next. So next we're going to go to the registration page. I'm going to go back into split view so we can see the code and what we've got here. And I'm going to add a create user option. So I'm going to drag the create user wizard this time and drag it in. I'm going to format it into that same classic view that I've chosen for a previous one. So we've got some synchronicity there. And we need to change a property setting here, which is the continue destination page URL. So continue destination page URL. So when someone presses continue, where are we going to go to? We're going to go to the default page. Just choose default and click OK. And that's us set up our registration. We don't need to make any changes to that at all. And one final thing, we mentioned we've got this change password page. So we're going to drag in a change password wizard into that. I'm going to format that into the same style as before. You can see I'm a fan of that view. And that's our option to change the password. We don't need to worry about changing anything at all. Now, on our default page, we've got nothing here to give us an option to change password. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put under this login view, I'm going to give people the option to change the password. So here, all I need to do is add in a link to the change password page, and I want some text there to just say change password. Okay, synchronize that. So now we've got a link underneath that says change password. That will just simply take us to that password page and allow us to then change the password as a user. So if I just save all of this, and once again I'm going to run this default page in a browser. So I open up my browser. Now notice I've got my browser slightly off to the left here, so we can still see down the right hand side the Solution Explorer. Okay, it's going to be interesting because that's going to change at some point, because once we create a user, that user will be stored in a database. What Visual Studio will automatically do for us, it will add an app data folder with that database in as soon as we create this user. So if I click on now, hello visitor, please log in, I'm going to click on the login option. It takes us to our login page. We haven't yet created a user though. So I'm now going to register. So I'm going to click on the register option here, and it takes us to our registration page. And at this point, I'm going to create my user. My username is Richard. I'm going to create a password. And I'm going to confirm it. Email. And a security question. My workplace is VCU. And create user. This will take a short time because we're now going to create a whole new database as well as this user. So now it says the account has been created and I can continue. And it now says, hello Richard, welcome back. Fantastic, we've created our user. If we now look over in our Solution Explorer, I'm just going to refresh it, and you'll see the app data folder has now been created, and inside that we've got our database, okay, which contains all of our users. If I come back here, if I wanted to change my password, the final thing we created, I click on the change password link and it takes us into our change password option where I can enter my existing password and type a new password in. It says it doesn't like the new passwords, don't match, we'll just change that. And my password has now been changed. And that then, if I just go back a couple of pages, the default page, is how you create user options using Visual Studio and ASP.NET. And I can log out and I go back to where we were in the first place. I hope that's been of use. Thank you very much.